Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 19, and I'm going to talk about really one thing today, but before I get to that thing that I want to talk about, I just want to give you an update at how, kind of like a COVID update of how our current clinic is functioning right now. And this last week was a really productive and exciting week because we actually had patients come into the office. We've been very strategic about it. We've been very safe and cautious about having people come into the clinic. Everybody's masked, everybody's wearing gloves anytime that we're interacting with someone who comes in. And it was just a really good feeling to have people come in the clinic. I know that we've been doing a lot of remote care sessions with patients, and that's been great to be able to kind of stay on top of the care for those individuals. But there's nothing like having someone come into the office and being able to interact with them in person. I'm a very social individual. I like spending time with people, and to be quite honest, the vast majority of my social interaction is with my patients and my staff inside of my clinic. And so that's something that this last week was really a breath of fresh air, being able to open. I know that our situation here in Arizona is a little bit different than other clinic situations across the country, particularly in the Northeast, where they're really restricted in terms of being able to open up facilities even if they're considered essential. So I feel fortunate, and it was a really good last week, and I'm looking forward to this next week coming up where we're going to be open to seeing patients again as well, even though we are going to have some drop-offs and things like that. So the next thing that I want to talk about is my review process. And when I talk about my review process, on my YouTube channel, I review different products. So I review, over-the-counter type devices, like devices that you can purchase online or purchase, at a pharmacy section, something like that. And then I also have reviews of devices from major hearing aid manufacturers that I do reviews of. And the reason that I'm talking about this right now is because I recently just came off of doing a really extensive review of a product that you can purchase at Walmart in some states, and then in other states you can purchase these products on walmart.com. And then I just got done filming really late last night a review for a Widex product, so the new Widex Moment hearing aid that just came out a couple months ago. Reviews. So let's talk about it in general. There have been some questions as to whether or not the reviews that I do for my channel are being paid for by the manufacturers, whether it's, these online manufacturers or these major manufacturers with their products. And the answer to that is absolutely not. One of the stipulations that I had, and I actually remember talking to Abram Bailey from Hearing Tracker about this, about, doing these reviews and, how do we potentially monetize the channel, the YouTube channel, and not have my viewers incur costs in order to monetize things. So if you'll notice, I never do any kind of pre-roll ads or ads inside of the videos at all, because I don't want to have these unscrupulous companies actually being able to advertise on my channel. And so I wanted to keep things as unbiased as humanly possible, understanding that me being an audiologist, me having a clinic and dispensing products is an inherent bias anytime that I review something. Now, with that being said, no reviews can be purchased on my channel. I will do sponsored videos for certain features or products that I particularly like, but when it comes down to an actual review of a product, I will not accept payment for it. In fact, I tell everybody before I do a review on their product, so if they want to send me their product to do a review, or if a manufacturer reaches out and says, hey Cliff, we want you to review our product, I tell them all the same thing. I'll review your product, and if you send it to me, it will likely make it on my channel, but I'm going to tell people the good, the bad, and the ugly of your product. I'm going to tell them the pros, I'm going to tell them the cons, I'm going to expose weaknesses, I'm going to do all that stuff, and if you don't like it, it is what it is. And so kudos to the companies who have still agreed to send me products. That being said, and I was just made aware that I say that being said a lot as a transition into different thoughts. So I'm going to try to stop doing that a little bit more. But When it comes to actually doing a product review, there are several different steps that are involved with it. First and foremost, of course, I have to get the product, and if it's a major manufacturer or even if it's an over-the-counter manufacturer, I usually schedule a phone call for an extensive, deep dive into that particular product and get trained on it, right? So spending, an hour or two actually doing training, having them tell me what they think the key features are of that particular product, and then explaining what they mean by these features and what those features do. And then I jump in and I start playing with it. So I'll play with the programming software, I'll play with the apps, I'll play with the devices, I'll actually wear the devices to see how they sound, and I'll do all these things. And the thing that I don't think a lot of people really recognize is the amount of time that goes into reviewing these products. Now, a lot of these major manufacturer products, I work with them fairly regularly inside of my clinic, so I do get some kind of deep understanding just by working with them each day. But the over-the-counter style products or the direct-to-consumer type products, those are ones that I have to spend an enormous amount of time on just to see what their capabilities are, to run them through real-ear measurement testing, test box testing, all of these different forms of objective testing to really see what those devices are capable of. Now, when it comes to major manufacturers, or really any manufacturer for that matter, I'm spending hours in this aspect of getting used to the devices and finding out what their capabilities are. And then I work my way through this process of identifying what the most important aspects are of these devices, the things that I like about them and the things that I don't like about them. The thing that I really try to fight through is the marketing fluff of a lot of these companies. I mean, they'll trademark different terminologies and names to really kind of make their devices seem unique. And to some degree, they need to do that. I mean, they really need to help a consumer or a hearing care provider be able to separate out what makes that device different from other devices on the market. So I can understand to a degree why they would ultimately end up doing that. But it's my job to kind of see, okay, what purpose does that feature actually serve, and is it better than something else that's on the market? You have to keep in mind, these manufacturers are putting out new technologies all the time. I mean, you're probably looking at, if you were to average out all of the major manufacturers, you're looking at a new release about every year to year and a half with most of them. And being able to do reviews on all of these products in that time, for me anyway, from a time perspective, just isn't possible. So I have to try to identify the devices that I think are game changers and do reviews on those particular products. So I just got done last night finishing the filming, and we haven't even started the editing, the post-production stuff on the review video of the most recent hearing aid that I reviewed. But it really just, I mean, it makes me realize how much time goes into doing those reviews and this aspect of wanting to make the reviews balanced and as unbiased as possible. And I've mentioned this already in this video, but of course, there's going to be some question as to whether or not the review that I'm doing is a biased review. Like if I want you to purchase a certain product from me in my clinic, since I do own and operate an audiology clinic. But at the end of the day, the one thing that I have going for me on my channel is trust. And that's something that I take very seriously and something that I want to continue. And so if I go on my channel and I say, hey, this product is great, you need to buy this product and you need to buy this product from me, and that product actually sucks, then that isn't doing me any favors professionally. It might help me increase sales in my clinic for a very short period of time, but ultimately it's going to be a detriment to what I've tried to build at this point. I'm just really trying to create informed consumers is really what I'm doing. So you watching this channel, I'm trying to make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into when it comes to hearing treatment. That includes the products as well. So a lot of times, an individual like yourself might be checking out different devices. So you can go into a hearing care provider with some kind of background knowledge about what different products are on the market, so they can really work through with you instead of them being inherently biased to one or two brands. If you think there's another brand that makes sense for you, you can bring that up and talk about the pros and cons of that device versus the other devices that they dispense. That being said, there it is again. That being said, with that said, I don't even know what else to say. When you go to a hearing care professional, this is going to be my main point here. Whether you've seen my reviews on different products, it does not matter really what I think about a device. It ultimately matters if that device has the features and characteristics of a device that you need. And on top of that, when you go to a hearing care professional, let's say that they work with only 2 brands and that's it. They could get access to these other brands, but they really don't work with them very often. It may not make sense for you to get brand A if they only work with brand B and C. Because in order to get the most out of a piece of technology, the hearing care professional really needs to know how to implement that device for you. And if they have no clue at how to use the features and functionalities of that particular device, then it may not make sense to get that device from them, and you might actually be better served by device B or C if you want to go to that hearing care professional. And when it really comes down to it, if I had to make a recommendation to like a family member who was not capable of coming to me, what I would tell them is, I have certain brands that I think do better than other brands for certain types of individuals. But you can't be asking me for the best device for you if I don't know who you're going to. And I would say at the end of the day that what you should be doing is finding the best hearing care professional. So you find the best hearing care professional that follows best practices, because best practices are what are going to ultimately be the reason that you succeed with hearing treatment, and unless you have just complete blind luck with a hearing care professional and whatever device they fit. But first and foremost, you find a hearing care professional that is really good at what they do, and then you adhere to their overall recommendation. You can tell them what things are important to you and what things that you would like, and then it's really up to them to determine whether or not they could actually implement that technology or a different technology that can still meet your particular needs. And if it happens to be where you see a review that I do and you're like, wow, that's like the perfect device, but there's only one provider in my area that follows best practices and they don't work with that brand, you really have to ask yourself, is it worth traveling to a different provider that's a little outside of your area to get that particular product, or is it more worth it to go to that hearing care provider who's excellent? And I would say it's probably more worth going to the excellent hearing care provider than it is to find a perfect product for you. So, I still think it's important that I do these product reviews to kind of, get underneath the hood of these hearing aids and to really let you know what the features are and which ones are worthwhile and which ones are kind of just, like I said, marketing fluff. But really, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that the hearing care professional that you're going to is really good. And, that's something that I will not be unbiased about. I've seen way too many cases of people buying hearing aids online that they thought were, and major brands. I'm not talking like cheapo devices. I'm talking going on eBay, buying what they think is the perfect device for them. They come into my clinic to have it fit, and I'm like, this device has none of the features that you ultimately need based on the things that you told me that were important to you. And it's just kind of, it's kind of skewed my perception of where the value is when it comes to hearing aids and how those hearing aids work for a particular individual. If you can't find a hearing care provider who can get the most out of those devices, I don't care if you have the greatest hearing aid on the planet, you're just not going to get the full benefit of it. So, that's really what I wanted to get across today. Is when it comes to reviews on my channel, I do put a lot of work into them. It takes me hours and hours and hours compared to traditional videos that I do in order to get a solid review video out there. So hopefully you guys like the reviews. I try to do my best possible job on those that I can, given the limited time that I have to create video content because I'm running a clinic at the same time. But I just tell you, do your research. I tell everyone to do the same thing. Don't just watch one product review and think, oh, that's perfect for me. Watch different reviews on different products. Listen to other experts that are out there that are giving you information on certain devices. There are several different really reliable sources out there. HearingTracker.com, HearingAidKnow.com are two really solid websites that are run by really reputable individuals that give deep dives into devices and feature sets and and reviews. So make sure that you do your due diligence when it comes to any particular hearing device out there. Don't just watch my stuff, all right? Okay, guys, there you go. I think I only said that being said maybe 3 or 4 times in this video, so hopefully I'm doing better there right off the bat here. So that's it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll see you next week.